Hello lovely Flosstube friends and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lauren, also known as Cross Stitch Bunny, here on YouTube and over on Instagram. It has been around a month since my last episode. Mid-May, there was no point at all in me filming. May has been a terrible month in general. I think the worst month that Adam and I have ever had, just with so many things hitting us. I won't go through the list, although I might delve a little bit further when we do some life update at the end, but safe to say there was not much stitching going on, so I do have some things to show you, but my stitching time was limited. We have a quick look in my book. So my plan for May was that I was doing Mania, or a sedate version of Mania, with my friend Rosie from Rosie X Stitches, and we decided to start one new start every Saturday of the month. There were 5 Saturdays in the month. I think in my episode where I told you the plans, I said we were starting one every Sunday. I was wrong because there were only 4 Sundays in the month. It was every Saturday that we were planning a new start. So I did get my 5 new starts in. So I have 5 lovely new projects to share with you that I've not shown you before. I started the month on 30 WIPs, which is kind of where my limit is mentally at the moment. Like, I don't really want to creep above 30. I think it was last year that I spent a lot of time bringing my WIP count down and having minimum starts to get below the 30. Well, obviously, I am now some way above that at 35 because I've had the 5 new starts, but I've not had a single finish this month. I also said in my last episode that my May and June Wordy Birds would definitely get finished. I think I used the word guaranteed. I was like, it is guaranteed that I will finish 2 Wordy Birds in May. That did not happen. So yes, let's look at those first. We will look at the Wordy Birds first, starting with the existing Wordy Bird that you had already seen. So the Wordy Bird for May is this lovely bee inspired design that I will pop on the screen. And as you can see, I have made a little bit of progress compared to where you last saw it, but it is not yet finished. And this is where we are. You can see that I really don't have a long way to go, and this really should have been a finish. If I hadn't had my plans for Mania with all the new starts, I would have got this ticked off. But I'm very close, there's not too much left to do. I've literally got these flowers to do on this side, and I have started them. And then I think there's something in here, and I have a couple of little bees to buzz around these hives. I also think when I was editing my last video, I called these honey pots instead of hives. They're definitely supposed to be little beehives. So yes, this is where we are. I am stitching this on 32 count. I'm doing all my Wordy Birds on 32 count. This is an even weave. It is a print from my Stitch Bunny shop, which I may have named in my previous video. But off the top of my head right now, not entirely sure of the name. I think it might be the golden print, but don't hold me to that. And I'm not sure what I'm stitching this with because I'm that organised. So organised this morning. Let's have a look in my box. I am stitching this with a mixture of everything, it seems. There are mostly DMC in my box, but there's a random CXC and a couple of royal broideries. So yes, I've clearly kitted this up with DMC as far as I can, and then I've subbed in some other colours. So one last look at May. Beautiful design. Love the little birdies on this very much. And I will finish this, hopefully at some point in this first week of June, today being the 1st of June. My next project to share with you is the June Wordy Birds. So I did show you a little preview of the pattern in my last episode. I was very excited to start it because it's absolutely beautiful, so summery. And I have made a start. Now, Rosie started this one at pretty much the same time as me, and she flew through this one, and it is finished. Mine is nowhere near a finish, but we do have a start. So this is Wordy Birds June, that is going to have my flamingos on it, and like sandy beach vibes. Started with the bottom border as usual, but I haven't quite filled it all in. So I've done the white and the pale blue, but there are a few stitches missing, but the bottom border is almost complete. However, I was a bit bordered out and wanted to move on to some fun lettering. So I've started the lettering. When I pick this back up, I will start by filling in the remainder of the border that needs finishing, because it really won't take long. It's just like mindless stitching, I think all in one colour for what's left. So I'll just need to find out what colour it is and then mindlessly fill in all the gaps, and then I can go back to my nice lettering and make my way up to the birds and the other cute motifs. Again, this is a 32 count even weave. This is a Stitch Bunny hand dye. It is sort of like a pale blue and white mottle. Don't know if it's showing up very well on the camera with this lighting, but yeah, that is just a Stitch Bunny shot piece that I chopped because the Wordy Birds are not that large. So that is June Wordy Birds, and I am stitching this all with DMC. Yes, I had every colour for that one, so that was nice and easy to kit up. I do keep thinking that maybe I should switch from the approach of having the threads for every WIP in its WIP bag to maybe keeping all my threads in my big master set boxes and working from those. Let me know your thoughts on this, and let me know, please, in the comments what your approach is. I've always put all of my threads in with each project, because then you just pick up the bag and you're ready to go. And obviously the benefit is also, if you were traveling with a project, you can't be taking all your master sets with you. But that being said, I travel very infrequently, so for me that isn't really too much of an issue. But I just find that, like, you know, I have a full DMC master set from years ago when I bought the big box, and I know that a couple of colours here and there may have had heavy usage, and I might have, on a handful of colours, used an entire skein, but for the majority that is just not the case. And yet when I go to my DMC master set, there are a lot that are missing, and you know, with 30 plus project bags, I just basically can't be bothered every time I start something new to hunt through all my project bags to steal it back from a different project. So yeah, I've been thinking about possibly going through the epic task of relocating all of my bobbins into the boxes, and then whenever I start a new project, because I have a master set for DMC which should be complete except maybe 1 or 2 colours. I then have a master set for Royal Broidery which is incomplete, but I should have a good number of colours in that. And then I have quite an extensive box that again won't be a complete set, but I should have the vast majority of colours for CXC. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. I would be interested to know how other people do it. I think that most people do keep the threads in the bags, but maybe I'm wrong. And it was just when Rosie and I were recently kitting up for some of our May projects, our Mania projects, there was one particular project from Cross Stitcher magazine that we were both choosing to stitch, which was the Animal Collectives, which I will be showing you. And I said to Rosie, I can literally only find 5 colours for this across all my sets. And yeah, I'm highly confident that I will have them all somewhere. And that's what sort of made me think, you know, to do my Animal Collectives, I've pulled out like 5 colours, I've started it, but that really restricts me to what I can stitch on it. And I just thought, oh, how easy would it be if I just had a master set and I just worked out of the same box all the time and they were just there. Anyway, let's move on to project number 3. So what order shall I do this in? Let's have a look. So we've done May Wordy Birds, June Wordy Birds. So my next start for Mania, because the first start of Mania was the Wordy Bird June. And the second start was a mermaid. Rosie and I decided to both pick a mermaid of our choice of any type. And the one that I picked was Cordelia by Filipina, because I had her conveniently kitted and ready to go. I just needed to pick my fabric. So this is Cordelia, and she is beautiful. Absolutely love her. This is kitted all in DMC with the cord for Krynic and all the cord for bead and treasure packs, which are here in my Susie bag. And I have made a really good start on this, so I'm very happy with the progress so far. Just move my thread out of the way. And here it is. Well, here she is, although she has not appeared yet. So I started at the bottom because the fabric I have chosen is this fabric from Sparklies, which is like the half blue, half sort of sandy beach dyed fabric. If I'm not mistaken, I think that Gina from Gina X Stitches told me that this was a fabric request of hers quite some time ago to stitch the Mirabilia sandcastle pattern. I think she said she asked Kate to create this fabric for that pattern. I think I'm right. And then Kate just added it as one of her mainline fabrics. And I just thought it would work really nicely for Cordelia. I tried it on like one of the online fabric viewers, and I just liked the idea of her being sat on this big shell on the beach. And it looked good on the fabric viewer. So yes, the reason for my bottom start, which isn't a place I would usually start, I would usually either have a centre start or maybe like top left corner, started from the bottom because I wanted to get the placement of my shell where I wanted it on the sand. I sort of wanted it to just be resting on the sand line. So I think, yeah, like the sandy line, they do blend nicely, but the sand sort of starts to blend from here. So I'm like a good 1.5, maybe 2 inches on the sand bed. And I have lots of Mermaid left to stitch. So that is my start on Cordelia. Very happy. I've forgotten the name of this fabric, but obviously it's very distinctive. So yes, I'm sure you would not have trouble finding it on Sparklies. And there we go. I absolutely love this one. And this is the project that got the most love from me this month. It, I believe, is a 28 count. Yeah, 28 count fabric, 28 count even weave that I am stitching that on. I think it's even weave. Yeah, it is even weave, it's not linen. So that is my lovely mermaid. My next new start was a strawberry themed start. So Rosie started something different, but we were both doing strawberry themes. Yeah, this is a digital pattern, so I'll pop it on the screen. So this is Strawberry Bunny by Svetlana Sichkar. Obviously there is no before picture because it is a new start. And this is how I'm doing. So a small but not insignificant new start. Off the top of my head, I think from the stats on my marking off, I think I'm about 10% or maybe slightly higher with this already. And I only stitched on it on the day that I started it and then like an extra 25 minutes the following day. It's definitely had less than 2 hours in total. These are the bunny's little cheeks here. And then this is sort of the nose bit, and there's obviously some different coloured shading in the nose. And these grey bits are like the floppy ears that are starting to come through. I'm stitching this on a very, very sparkly sort of pale green Ada that I believe is 14 count. It's just like a 14 count opalescent. It is a DMC fabric. I think on the little packet it said celery green. That was the name on the packet, but I'm not sure if that was a manufacturer's name and sticker, or whether it was like the retailer name and sticker from when I bought it, and maybe they had named it celery green. I'm not sure, but it's just like a very pale green and it sparkles, and I thought that would be a nice background for my bunny. She does have a little bit of green in the pattern, but it's a stronger green than this, and it's only a little bit, and I just thought the red of the strawberry dress would pop really nicely on a green background. This is being stitched all with CXC because this is a pattern that I have had in stash and have had kitted for a very long time. So I'm just using the CXC threads that I initially kitted her with. So that is Strawberry Bunny. Oh, I've got my little strawberry needle minder on this. I started out with my Essex Retreat needle minder from 2024, and then I remembered that I should have my little strawberry one somewhere, so I went and found him and added him to the project. So that is Strawberry Bunny. Next new start was, oh no, I've missed one. So there should have been a new start in between those two of the Animal Collective that I was previously talking about. However, as I said, May was a difficult month for me, and the weekend that we were supposed to start Animal Collective together was particularly bad. I didn't get any stitching done, and I don't think I got any stitching done that whole week. So that new start sort of fell by the wayside. So I'd missed a Saturday of new starts, and then so I had my others, but I'd missed one Saturday and had no new starts. So then I had a decision to make yesterday. So yesterday was the last day of May, and it was the last Saturday of May, and I had my planned new start because there was supposed to be one new start on that day, but I had skipped Animal Collectives earlier in the month. So I thought, shall I just skip it and just have the 4 new starts? And I decided, no, I'm still going to start it. So yesterday, on the last day of the month, I had 2 new starts. So both of these were started yesterday. I did an hour on Animal Collectives, which I'll pop on the screen because, again, this is a magazine pattern, and my copies of the magazine are digital, so I don't have one to hold up. So this is the Animal Collectives pattern from Cross Stitcher. I believe the issue is issue 422. The designer is Durene Jones. I have chosen a very random fabric for this. I'm just trying to use up at the moment. You'll notice, like, I started my Strawberry Bunny on Ada, and I've started this one on Ada as well. I don't stitch on Ada that much anymore for my new starts. I tend to gravitate towards the even weave or the linen, typically in a 32 count, sometimes a 28 or a 36, but yeah, 32 count even weave is my go-to, or linen, and then occasionally other counts. But I'm not really that much of an Ada stitcher at this moment, but I do have an excess of Ada in my stash, and for little fun projects, it's fine. Do you know, it's easy for me to stitch on, it's easy to work on. I don't want to get rid of it all or just sort of sell it all off. I've got some really pretty pieces, and I just thought, yeah, for some projects I'm still happy to use it, and this is one of those projects. So this is where I got to yesterday with 1 hour. I limited myself to an hour because I'd started it of an evening, and I wanted to have the other new start as well. So I set a little timer. I was like, I'm gonna have 1 hour of a new start, see how far I get. I have started with the deer. So if you look on the pattern on the screen, I have started with the deer. And so like middle right, and this is where I got to. So yeah, the reason I mentioned I've started with the deer is because there are no animals to be seen yet. I started with like the green grass that the deer are stood on, so you can see all these little gaps, which is where their legs will be coming down. But yeah, I just sat there and had some nice stitching for an hour with 2 different shades of green, and just got as many stitches in there as I could. Rosie approved my needle minder for this. She thought it was a brilliant choice for the project. I agree. So yeah, this fabric is just like a 14 count Ada printed, and it's very random. I don't know where I got it from. It's been in stash for a long time. I'll just show you the branding. It is all in Russian, so I have zero clue where I obtained this from. Just, yeah, got all this Russian print at the bottom. But it is just like a very random, colourful background. It's got bits of white and blue and yellow and pink, sort of all mixed together, just like a mottle. And I really like it, and I just thought that that would be nice just to have a bit of colour in the background behind my animals once they're all stitched. I'm stitching this with DMC so far. As I mentioned, I only pulled out a few colours. So I basically looked at what I had. I looked at the deer and thought, well, I've got quite a lot of colours for the deer. I've got both of the greens for their grass. And I had 4 of the colours that I found quite easily for the deer themselves. So I thought that that was the best place for me to start. That is Animal Collectives. The combination of threads in this may change as I sort of progress with this. I just wanted to get the new start, to be honest, so that I didn't feel like I'd failed with our stitching plans. I will probably continue with this until I've exhausted the colour selection of 6 colours here in this bag. Although my Wordy Birds are more of a priority. So yeah, I'm going to carry on stitching with what I've already pulled out for the deer, and then this may get shelved for a while, for quite a while I do other things. And at some point, you know, maybe when I've finished a few more projects, I'll find some more of the colours for it over time and can add them to the bag. So yeah, that is Animal Collectives. So then my last new start of the month, which also happened yesterday. I had half an hour on this one. Now, if you saw my last episode with my May plans, you are probably expecting to see some Mill Hill chickens. However, you will not be. I just need a quick drink. My throat is a bit sore this morning. Better. So yes, I had intended to do like a Mill Hill little chicken house buttons and beads kits on the parchment paper. However, when yesterday came around, I suddenly thought to myself, whoops, I never got round to ordering one of the magnetic wooden frames to hold the Mill Hill button and bead kits. And the last button and bead kit I did on the parchment paper, I really did struggle with cramp in my holding hand. So yeah, so many of you suggested those wooden magnetic frames to me, and I did go and look at them, and I thought, yes, that is a great idea. But with my last Mill Hill kit that I did, I was so close to a finish by the time I mentioned the problem with my hand and got that suggestion from people that I just thought, you know, I've probably got like maybe an hour left at best in this project. I will just finish it. And then it kind of went out of my mind because I'd finished it and I didn't have any other perforated paper charts on the go. So I just thought, I don't need to buy one yet. And then of course yesterday I was like, oh no, I've not got one. What else can I stitch in its place? So I decided to pick something else that I can put in one of my other frames. And I picked this Filigram chart by Carrot Cake Chart by Filigram. Really beautiful chart. I love this, and I picked this up from the Essex retreat in March from Rachel at Talking Dog, and she kitted it for me with, like, on the back you've got the option for dinky dyes or for gentle arts threads, and Rachel, just trying to find them here, Rachel stocks the gentle arts. So I just asked her to put it together for me, which she did. That's the only one I've used so far. And these are all the beautiful colours in this project. or just with like gentle variegation. The one I've started using is Fragrant Cloves. And this is how far I got with my, it was 25 minutes of a new start last night, all in one colour. And we don't quite have the word carrot, but we have the word car and a tiny little bit of extra stitching. So yeah, that is my new start for Carrot Cake. I'm stitching this on 20 count Ada. So yeah, I sort of wanted this colour, like on the model stitch. And the advisement on the back is to stitch on raw linen. I do have raw linen in my stash, but I found this piece with my raw linens, and like when I hold it next to my raw linens, it is the same colour. So it's like a natural coloured Ada or raw Ada. And it is a 20 count. It wasn't labelled, it was just like a little piece I had, but I measured it, it was big enough. And yeah, I just measured it with my tape measure and counted the holes, and it is 20 count Ada. So the stitches are still very small, like very neat, and even though it's Ada, with it being 20 count and the holes are very small, it doesn't really look like Ada, if that makes sense. Like when you're looking at the project, when it's finished, the holes are not particularly obvious on this. So yes, nice little start. There's not much to look at. I haven't done too much, but I'm glad to have it started. So I can say that my mania plans were a success. We didn't get as much progress as I was hoping for, other than on Cordelia, who I'm very happy with, but we did start those 5 new starts that I wanted to start. I'm having to slot this little segment in because I realised the second that I turned off the camera that I had something lovely to show you, and it sat right next to me, but I'd forgotten to mention it. So I'm not sure where I'm going to slot this in. It's just going to pop up randomly, but I could not leave this out of the video. So let me grab my box. So I have received a really lovely, exciting delivery from beautiful Gina at Gina Stitches, who is a lovely friend of mine. I met Gina quite so many years ago now at my very first Mirabilia retreat, which was actually not a Mirabilia retreat, it was the Nobam retreat. That is where I met Gina. So I've sort of known her ever since, but like grown closer to her over subsequent retreats, and yeah, we stay in touch quite a lot now, and it's lovely, and she's always there for me to talk to. Especially when I'm having a bad time and I need someone to speak to. Like, yeah, Gina's really wonderful for that. And I definitely appreciate her friendship. And she has sent me something wonderful, which I do need to share with you. So this is my unicorn chart. And I briefly mentioned in my last video, I think it was, that I'd seen like Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches do like a whole episode of Flosstube on her unicorn charts, and I actually thought I might get round to filming my own in May, which didn't happen. However, I do have one of my unicorn charts to share here with you, and it has been top of my list for such a long time, and it's now in my possession, and that is Snow Days by Mirabilia. Isn't he beautiful? So yeah, this is a lovely Snow Day snowman, Mirabilia, so obviously designed by Nora Corbett, and I absolutely love him. I have wanted to stitch him for so long. He does pop up here and there on eBay. The prices seem to vary wildly, so when I was looking for him quite heavily, like a number of years ago, I was searching for him all the time on a regular basis, and whenever he came up, he was just ridiculously priced, and I couldn't justify it really. And then I saw him a few times pop up. I saw him on Facebook Marketplace. He popped up with a lady that lived close to me, and I actually arranged to go and collect him and everything and meet up with her to go and pick him up, and then the day that I was supposed to go, she just turned around to me and said, oh, I'm sorry, I sold it to someone else. So I missed out on him. But Gina has made my unicorn dream come true. And not only has she sent me Mr. Snowman, so I've got the pattern, but she had actually already started him. So I have adopted him. I've adopted the entire WIP because it was one that Gina was just not enjoying that much and thought that she was probably not going to finish. I said, I will finish him for the both of us, Gina, if you let me take him. So I haven't done any work on him yet, but this is where Gina got to. So this is not my stitching, guys. This is stitched by Gina, and she has done a lovely job, a lovely start on him. I've got a really good head start on this WIP, so it will be a new start for me, but I'm not restarting him. Gina has picked an amazing fabric. I don't know what it is, but it is a gorgeous opalescent, beautiful. This one's actually not opalescent, no, it's silver sparkle rather than opalescent. So just silver metallics throughout on like a blue and white mottled background, which may be being bleached out from the window. If I fold it over a little, you might be able to see the fabric better. But she has picked a gorgeous fabric. Look at it. It is stunning and just perfect. Perfect for this design. So yes, I have adopted him. The only thing I'm going to have to be mindful of, and I'm fully aware of this, is that Gina stitches the opposite way to me, but I knew that. When she said that I could adopt him. And I've decided that I am going to stitch the same way as Gina. I have done this once before on a round robin when I took part in making the birth sampler that myself and a group of others did for Rosie when she was having her little boy, and everyone else had stitched this way and I stitched the other way. And it just took me a few minutes to get in the headspace of doing that, but it was fine, and I managed to stitch it with no issues, without getting mixed up with my legs going in opposite directions. And I know that I could stitch in my normal way on this, and then it would clearly show which bits Gina did and which bits I did. So that was another option that I did think of, but I've decided against it. I'm going to just follow suit. Swap up my stitching legs to match Gina's, because when the full piece is done, like I said, this is like my unicorn chart. I've wanted to stitch this snowman for a really long time, and I want him to look perfect when he's finished. Yeah, I don't want there to be that difference in two different stitching styles. So yes, I'm really looking forward to doing some work on him. I'm probably not going to touch him in June, but Jolly July is approaching, so yes, watch this space. And I've just got, I've got everything for him here. He's got quite a lot of fancy threads in him, and Gina has just sent me the whole kit. So I've got his DMC, but there's also, I think these might be Caron water lilies, like silks in here, or dinky dyes or something like. It's probably Caron water lilies, with it being a Mirabilia. He does have a few beads, which I've got. I've got his Krynic. And Gina said that he also uses some sort of wispy threads, like fluffy threads, and they're in here. So yeah, I've got like his fluff as well. Arctic rays they are. So I've got all the Arctic rays sort of fluffy bits in here for him. So yeah, super excited, and so many thank yous to Gina. And when she sent me this package, obviously I had been speaking to Gina this month about my woes and about things that have been going on. And not only did she send me the snowman, I did take a picture of the whole package, which I'll pop on the screen. She sent me like little goodies for the kids. So she sent Hadley like a little automatic boat that swims around in water, and she sent Daisy like a little Furby thing. The kids were overjoyed, they loved it. They got chocolate treats as well. I got biscuits, although Adam ate all of my biscuits. I didn't get a single biscuit, but I'm not going to complain because I got the stitchy stuff. He got the biscuits, and the kids got their bits. And Gina also sent me this gorgeous sparkly fabric from Sparkly. She knows how much I love opalescent fabrics. So she sent me this extra bonus piece of opalescent fabric from her stash. And last but not least, she also sent me another lovely Christmas pattern. So this is, I'm not going to pronounce it, I'll show you on the screen, but this is the lovely Christmas pattern that says "This House Believes in Christmas" by an Italian designer whose name is here. I'm not going to butcher it, but I know that you'll know who they are. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Love this a lot. Very much my sort of style. I love Christmas patterns in general. And Gina sent this fully kitted for me. So she sent this beautiful fabric for it, which I'm going to stick to. I'm going to use what she's picked out for me because it's perfect. So no need to change it. That's a lovely piece of linen. And then she sent me all of the colours. Everything that I need. So yes, as I said, I don't know where this is being slotted in, but yes, thank you so much, Gina, and I cannot wait to use these. I cannot wait. Obviously, especially Mr. Snowman, he will make an appearance in Jolly July. Back to the rest of the episode. That is all my stitching to share with you today. I do have a couple of other things that I want to talk about now. So I want to talk about the Wordy Birds pattern, the upcoming pattern that has just been released for July. I want to give you a little bit of shop news, which hopefully some of you might find exciting, potential bargains to be had. And then I will do some life updates at the very end for those of you that are interested in the disaster of a month that I've had. Let's start with the Wordy Birds then. So as many of you know, I adore this series. I have been so enthusiastic about stitching all of it. We are as far as June and I have loved every single pattern without exception. And then July arrived and I knew when signing up for this like stitch along in advance. Obviously all the patterns were mystery patterns, and I knew obviously with Sweet Wing Studio being an American based design house, that a lot of the designers that do the monthly series of patterns make July very 4th of July very patriotic. And that is fine. I was fully expecting that that might happen. I was hoping against hope that it wouldn't happen, because for me personally, as a UK stitcher with no like American links in terms of heritage or anything like that, yeah, the 4th of July heavily themed patterns from any series are just not for me. Not because I don't think they're pretty, but just because they would make no sense for me personally to have on display. I was hoping against hope that the designer would create something very summery, sort of like we'd had the beachy pattern for June, and I was hoping July might be something equally summery. However, it wasn't meant to be. So this is the pattern, and it's a lovely pattern. Like, I love the peacocks. They are beautiful. I do have a little bit of personal disappointment over the fact that it's too patriotic for me to be able to amend this. So I was kind of hoping, I expected that there would be a US flag on this design and that it could be very blue, white, red, very 4th of July, but I was just hoping that the wording itself might be more generic, something to do with summer. Because if that had been the case, I thought I could maybe get creative with just trying to adjust the motifs to maybe get rid of a flag. However, as you can tell, I mean, the pattern is lovely. It's very eye-catching. It's very pretty. The peacocks are amazing. So I'm very disappointed that I won't be stitching those. But yeah, the whole pattern is just so patriotic. I can't amend this. It wouldn't be that pattern in any way, shape or form, and I wouldn't even know where to start because I wouldn't be making adjustments. I'd be trying to create entirely new wording and just change the whole thing. So focusing on the positives, this pattern is not for me, and obviously it's part of a 12-part series. So like I said, there is that bit of disappointment because I'm suddenly like, right, my series is going to be incomplete because I'm now only going to stitch 11. However, the great thing about this particular series of patterns, although it is designed to be a monthly series and I was intending on displaying them monthly once they're all finished, the months are not on here. So unlike a lot of series where it actually says January, February, March, there's no months specified on these patterns, which is perfect because what that means is that when it comes to them all being finished and I have my 11 and my July pattern will be missing, all I'm going to do is display the June pattern, which is very beachy, very summery. I can display that one into July for like an extra 2 weeks or the full extra month, depending on what August's pattern is. If August, however, is still very summery, then like I said, I will just put up June's pattern for 6 weeks and then I will switch to August pattern for 6 weeks. So my August and my June patterns can basically share July. And just be on display for longer, and nobody will know that there are only 11 monthly patterns except for me. So yeah, that is my solution. I'm happy with it. That is the plan. I cannot wait to see what August is. And on a further positive note, my stitchy time has been very dominated by Wordy Birds for the whole of this year so far. That is the series that I've been concentrating on. I've really wanted to keep up with it. And then I've had a terrible stitchy month for May. I've fallen behind, but now I'm effectively sort of ahead of myself again, or at least back on track because I'm missing a whole pattern. I'm skipping that whole pattern for July. So yeah, that gives me a bit of breathing room to catch up. Like my May is almost finished anyway. That is probably going to take an hour or two to finish that maximum. So May can be ticked off fairly quickly. Then I can concentrate on June and I'm skipping July. So yes, I will look forward to the August release so I can see what that looks like. Exciting shop news. So my Stitch Bunny shop like utilises a little studio room / like storeroom that's part of my home. And Adam and I are getting ready again to potentially put our house on the market. I say potentially, we are putting the house back on the market. You've heard this so many times if you've watched me for years. We did go up briefly last year and then it was just like poor timing. We sort of missed the window of like the time that we wanted to get it up for. It was a bit later in the year and like the garden wasn't looking its best and all those kind of things. And we came back down off the market pretty quickly and just didn't bother. We are bothering again. We're getting everything ready, shipshape, yeah, ready for sale. And then this house is going up and it will stay up. And we are leaving it up this time and I'm leaving it up till it sells. We want to move on. We wanted to move on from here for a long time. It needs to happen. And we're just going to be stuck here for the next 3 years with me telling you that we want to move if we don't just put it on the market and then stick it out. So that is what is happening. And how does that relate to exciting shop news, you ask? Well, obviously I've got to tidy the whole house again, get it sort of more show homey for viewings. And one of the worst rooms in the house is my Stitch Bunny stock room. So although it is like a working studio room and I'm not going to be able to declutter it because, you know, it's full of stock, yeah, I need to be able to organise things a little bit better. And I do have a lot of stuff in there. And I particularly have a lot of fabric. And I have a giant box, like a huge box of hand-dyed fabrics, which are ones that for one reason or another didn't get labelled up at the time that they were being processed. and now they were dyed so long ago that obviously I know whether they're linen, Aida or even weave, but yeah, they weren't labelled at the time, or they might be ones that I've like taken with me to retreats, and when people have been sifting through them, the labels have come off. So yes, I have this huge box of mystery hand-dyed fabrics, and with everything I'm going to have to do on the house in the coming weeks, I do not have time to sit there with a tape measure and a counting pin to count the holes in each piece of fabric, to be able to label them up as 28 count, 32 count. So what I was thinking of doing is just having like a bit of a flash sale on the website, and I will just be sort of bagging up the hand dyes into piles. Excuse me, sore throat. I thought I would just sort of put the hand dyes into like piles, like bundles, and basically sell them for quite a crazy price versus if they were labelled, just to clear the stock, clear that box. I say box, it's sort of overflowing. Yeah, and that will just give me a small sort of start on at least clearing some of the stuff from that room, hopefully quickly. If any of you guys are interested in mystery fabric bundles. So basically, yeah, you would get the fabric for a bargain price, but you wouldn't know exactly what count you were getting. I would just be sorting them into linen, even weave, Aida, and it would be a case of buy yourself a hand-dyed grab bag. I've not decided yet whether I will just literally do mystery grab bags, and it will be a case of this is the price and this is approximately the amount of fabric you'll receive, but they will be in, you know, bundles. So one bundle might have some bigger cuts and some smaller cuts, but overall you'll get the same amount of fabric. I don't know whether to do it that way or whether to actually put them in little piles and photograph them, maybe just with like my measuring stick ruler in the background, just so you can sort of see an idea of the size of the individual pieces in that particular bundle, and then I could just name them like A, B, C, D, E. Obviously that would take more time than just shoving them up and saying grab yourself a bargain bundle and see what you get. So yeah, hopefully I will be getting that up and sorted in one form or another. I'm hoping in the next week I will put out an announcement on my Instagram when it is done. So yeah, if that is something that you might be interested in, like I said, there's some of the pieces are absolutely, they're beautiful hand-dyed pieces, but I just don't have the time to label them, so I effectively just want them cleared and gone. And at the same time, while I'm in the studio, I may well, I don't know, bundle up some other things. I just want to shift a fairly large volume of stock in a fairly short time frame. So yes, that would be massively helpful so that I can get the room a bit tidier, because there's simply just not as much stuff in it. So yes, watch out for that. I know that I appreciate this will be of most interest to my UK watchers, although I do still post abroad, but yeah, obviously postage is quite expensive. But yes, if you're in the UK especially, then I'm hoping that that is of interest to you and you can clear some stuff from my stockroom for me. And like I said, the trade-off on the fabric bundles will be that you will have to take a bit of time to measure and count your counts just to work out what you've received, but you will have a lovely selection of fabrics to add to your stash. So that is my exciting shop news, and the only thing left to do is life update. And like I said, my life update for May is pretty miserable. I almost feel like I don't really want to sit here and just reel off a list of negativity to you, but yeah, we've just had a lot going on. The first week of the month was fairly normal, nothing too exciting going on, and then it was sort of from the 11th of May onwards, everything went downhill, starting with a road accident. So Adam, my husband, was out on his motorbike with his friend Oliver, and Adam was not involved in the crash, but obviously he was there and witnessed. So yeah, Ollie had a very, very bad crash, very bad. he's alive is what I will say, but it's very bad. Long road ahead of him, a lot of surgeries, many of which have already been taking place over these last couple of weeks. And yeah, that was just horrible. So it was a horrible thing to happen for Adam to see. Obviously then there were various things, like Adam had to, he was a witness, so there was the police to deal with, statements to give, visiting Ollie in hospital, those kind of things. And obviously Adam was like a bit shaken by it. So yeah, that was not good, and yet I was upset. Everyone's upset. So that was horrible. And then we had a puppy birth that did not go to plan. So when you breed animals, this happens from time to time, that you have a birth that doesn't go to plan. So I should have had a beautiful litter of 10 babies, and we ended up with 3 because 7 of them could not be woken up when they were born. So that is horrible. Yeah, that knocked the wind out of our sails for quite a number of days afterwards. And like I said, these things you have to move on from. There's nothing we could have done differently, and we're very experienced. The labour itself was completely smooth delivery. It was not a complicated birth. There were just some other issues that led to that. Mum is fine and her 3 babies are beautiful, but obviously that was pretty traumatic while it was happening. We then had loads of just stupid small things happen. So I got a fraud alert from my bank and somebody had cloned my card, so I had all that to deal with. My washing machine broke just at the very beginning of the school holidays, when the kids are going to be wearing loads more clothes than usual, of loads of different types. So that was fun. And I think in total it was like a week before the holidays that the machine broke, and then by the time we'd got someone out to come and check if it could actually be fixed, that was a few days, and then they confirmed it couldn't be fixed. It was completely dead. So then we had to order another one, wait for it to arrive. Once it arrived, we had so much else going on. It took Adam a couple of days to set it up. So yeah, all in all, I think I was without a machine for over a week, which in a household of 4 busy people with 2 children, yeah, I've got a lot of laundry to catch up on. And then yeah, thrown into the mix a little bit earlier in the month, because these are not particularly in any order, we had the news that one of my best friend's dads passed away suddenly. So that happened, and she's obviously very distraught, very much a mess, but she lives very far from me, and ordinarily I would have gone to her to be able to support her as a friend and be able to attend the funeral, which happened very, very quickly, quicker than expected. And I couldn't go to any of it, which makes me feel like a terrible friend, and I've still not been able to go and visit her because we've had that much going on here with everything that's happened, and particularly with the kids being on holiday, I couldn't go. So that made me feel a bit rubbish. Yeah, there's been a few other things, but they're not in my mind right now, so I'm not going to try too hard to think about them. Yeah, it's just been a rotten month. Oh yeah, and on top of it all, no, I will tell you this, 2 days ago, Adam's motorbike then got stolen. So we woke up to the motorbike being gone from the garage. So that was wonderful. And a couple of minutes after that, when I went to charge my car, because it's electric, we realised the charging cap had sealed itself shut and refused to open. So I had an electric car that can't be plugged in. That's now fixed. But yeah, a rotten month, everybody. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I am so happy that we're in June and that I can put May behind me. Do I have anything positive to say about May? Yes. So always trying to look on the bright side. I have sort of started a new fitness regime. But like I've properly committed to my food and my exercise. I started about 12 weeks ago with sort of rejoining the gym, maybe less than that, maybe like 10 weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks before I went on holiday with my mum and dad. in April, I'd sort of joined the gym again and I'd started going. But then it was when I got back from the holiday, which was around, we got back on like the 21st or 22nd of April. So like since then, since like the 22nd of April, I have fully committed. I'm like following a full plan that's been designed for me by a very awesome lady who is basically a bikini competitor. Not saying that's where I'm heading, but obviously she's very knowledgeable for getting people into a certain shape. And yeah, I would just like to do this for myself. Like I said, I don't know how far I'm going to take it, but I would like, as I'm approaching my 40s, to get into like the best shape of my life sort of thing. Like I've not felt good about things from the chin down since my second child. I actually lost most of my baby weight after having him, and then I piled quite a bit back on. I'm not huge, but I'm not a tall person. I'm very short, I'm very petite. My bone structure is very small. Like I've got size 2.5 feet. That's UK size 2.5. Yeah, I'm generally small, and any extra weight doesn't make me feel good. Yeah, so I've been wanting to do this for a couple of years, but I've just not committed to it because let's face it, it's a lot more fun to sit at home and cross stitch. But I have decided to fully commit, so I've been going to the gym now. Yeah, like since sort of that back end of April, I'm going like 4 times a week. I've got a set schedule. I don't necessarily go on the same day every week, although I try to. But what I mean is I've got 4 different workouts a week that's all planned out. I'm primarily weightlifting, doing a lot of weights, and then after each of my weight sessions, I follow it with cardio on the Stairmaster, which I am learning to love instead of hate. I actually feel quite a sense of achievement in how I'm progressing with going on that Stairmaster, because at first it was killing me, and now I can easily jump on there for 25 minutes and stick it on like, I don't know, level 7, and I can do that now. For 25 minutes without feeling like I'm dying. So my fitness is definitely improving. And yeah, so that is the one positive, is that despite everything that's happened in May, it would have been really easy for me to just give up and be like, I'm just going to eat everything. I'm going to ignore my eating plan. I'm not going to go to the gym because I'm miserable and I'm sad about everything that's going on. But instead, I sort of used it as a focus, you know, saying to myself, despite everything else that's going on around me and all the bad luck that we're having, I've committed to doing this for myself and I'm going to keep doing it. So yes, that's what I've been doing. I'm especially proud that I've managed to navigate still doing it in this week of the holidays, because obviously having the kids home 24/7 completely throws everything out. So yes, that is just like a little personal victory for me, like yay, sticking to it. And hopefully over the coming months, you know, it's a slow process, but hopefully I'm going to see some really good results. Yeah, and be happy with what I've achieved. So that is all of my May update, trying to finish on a positive note there. And for June, I don't have any set stitching plans, so there's nothing in particular that I have in mind. I'm not, like joining any more sales, I don't think, unless something crops up. I've not set myself any goals. My goal for June is just to have a more peaceful month with no drama, and yeah, just sort of stitch what I want, when I want, and kind of get my stitchy bug back. Yeah, with everything that went on in May, my bug just kind of disappeared through a lack of time and also just stress. And I know that like stitching, I always say, is like my relaxation. It relaxes me and makes me feel less stressed. But I think there's like a certain point where you get to a certain level of stress. I personally can't sit and stitch because I can't focus on it. Or I just feel too exhausted to have my brain concentrate on something. And the moments that I do get where I could stitch, I just want to sort of sit and zone out and do nothing or watch telly, like something easy. So yeah, my plans for June are just to stitch when the mood takes me, I really would like to finish the May Wordy Bird because that should be so doable. There's a couple of 100 stitches left in it at best. Yeah, so I'll say that's a goal, is finish the May one, also finish the June one hopefully, and then just stitch on anything else from my now 35 project high WIP pile, and just enjoy my stitching this month. I'm gonna go, and I'm really sorry that my voice probably sounds really weird. I'm really croaky on this video. I'm definitely coming down with something. I don't know what it is. I feel fine in myself, but yeah, my throat is just, over the last like 48 hours, it's not feeling good. It's not feeling good. I'm not coughing or anything like that, but yeah, my throat just feels unwell. Yes, I'm gonna go and pop some vitamins and stuff. I've got some puppy people coming to visit in about 45 minutes to meet our babies, to hopefully pick which one is going to be theirs. So yeah, I've got that. And then when they've left, I'm off to the gym. I'm already in my kit. I'll be off to the gym as soon as they've visited. And then I've got a few hours where some stitching will definitely be happening because the kids are at grandma's at the moment. And yeah, they've not really seen Adam's mum and dad during the holidays this holiday. I've spent so much time taking them here, there and everywhere. Yeah, Adam's mum and dad have got them now until 5 o'clock, which is why it was the perfect time to film this. And I can get my gym workout in and feel good about that I'm finishing the week. Getting my final workout in because it is Sunday, so it's my last day to get that 4th workout in for the week. And then yes, from tomorrow is Monday, from tomorrow the kids are back to school. I hope to shake off this bug, whatever it is. We've not got time for being ill here at the moment. I'm going to shake off this bug, and yes, we're going to have a good and positive June, fingers crossed. I hope and wish the same for you. Have a wonderful June, everyone, with no dramas and lots of happy stitching. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.